There we are. We see him now. Glen Suitor. How you doing?
Gentlemen, how are you? So here's what I've learned about Europe. First trip over to Europe. I'm back now. Here's what I've learned. Okay. First of all, way less governing than here in Canada. And if you guys have been there, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can be on a road in any one of these European cities, and there's cars flying by on these cobblestone roads. They're super narrow. People are walking on them. There's motorcycles weaving in and out. People park their cars on the side of the road in both directions. So if it's one way going one way, you see cars parked the other way. And yet it works. Like, there's no guy walking around giving traffic tickets out. There's no parking meters. And no one gets run over. It was crazy. Like, I remember walking along the side of a path in Scotland, and we were going into a castle, and you're 200 feet above the ocean, and there's a sign there that just said, there's no railing. It's cobblestone. It's uneven. And you have a path that's maybe 2 feet wide. And there's a sign there that says, keep your kids under control. This is a long drop if you fall. And I'm thinking, this is what, this is basically governments in these countries in Europe telling people, listen, use your common sense. You're an adult. We're not going to over-govern you. You'll die if you fall off of this side of this mountain. So, and the last thing, and I searched, guys, and I don't like getting political, but I could not find one person that likes Mark Carney in the UK. Not one person.
That's the story. Yeah, he's very unpopular over there in the on the island. Yes.
I don't.
Very unpopular, but
I want to, but I don't. Kate, Did you make your way? You made your way to St. Andrews, didn't you?
Oh my! And thank you for I got you a little something. I'll get it to you when when we get together in Regina this year. But I'm so glad I went out there. Couple things. One is, wow. I mean, just the spectacular view in the ocean and the waves coming off the wind in there, and the beautiful condition that course is in. And you walk out there and you can almost picture Jack Nicklaus or Tiger Woods, making his shot on that wide open, huge green on the 18th. That's the famous bridge that we were taking pictures on. And amazing, Barney, you told me this, but I really honestly didn't believe you, but you can go out there in between guys on the tee box hitting. So you have to wait till they all hit. And then there's a lineup of people that hustle out to the bridge, take their pictures, and hustle off. And that picture, if you're watching the podcast, that picture to the left, I don't know if this is a rule or there was a guy playing golf with his dog, going the 18 holes with him. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. Where golf was invented, you can bring your dog on the course and go play 18 with your dog along the way. I loved it, man. It was. Yeah. I'm so glad I went.
It reminds me of one of the second trip there, and one of the rounds we played. There was a Japanese tourist, and you could tell they were very wealthy. And the one lady had her dog with her for the whole round of golf.
I'd have to have mine on its leash. It would go get the ball all the time, bring it back to me.
Your dog would have went and chewed this lady's dog, and then we would have had a national incident. No, but I'm so glad you got to go, just the home of golf and just everything that's there. Did you have a pint? Did you find the Dunvegan pub?
We went right to it's right by the clubhouse, to the right by the sea, like right by the ocean there. And we went and ate, we went and ate in that restaurant. And wow, fantastic. Food was great. The guy was explaining all the different holes, our waiter, and where they go. Like there's like 10 courses or something out there in different ways. And I love the way it's open to the public. Like there's a little putting area where there were maybe 30, 40 kids. Now you mentioned people having money. I asked the waiter, I said, how much would it cost me to go out and play around golf right now? And he said, well, it's the winter. So, about 200 pounds. Now we're about half. So you have to double it for us in the conversion. That's a $400 round in the winter. Now it was nice weather. I said, okay, what is it in the summer? He goes, yeah, you're looking at about $800. And I thought,
I'm glad I played it when I did.
Ouch. That's a big number.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, there is the Himalayas is what you're talking about, where the putting green is.
I have a question for you, Suits, before we get into anything too serious. You've had this amazing adventure through Europe and the historical aspect I could talk to you about all day. What was the low light? What was the thing you would tell somebody not to do or to look out for?
Well, I would say that London is still, just a really big city. So if go to the things you need to see, like you got to go to, all the historic sites and things, and their government buildings and the castles and all that stuff. But, once you do the tourist thing in London, you're in the middle of a really big city. And I like New York and I liked London, but I'm not a big city guy. So I'm good in New York for 3-4 days, and that's it. Like I gotta kind of get out. It's too people-y for me at that point. But boy, there was a lot of things I strongly recommend. Normandy was one. We've talked about that, but I think if every G7 meeting by the leaders of countries around the world went to Normandy for a day and went to the cemeteries first, and then had their meetings the next day, maybe they would have a better perspective in some of these meetings, because that is just an emotional roller coaster. I really liked in Europe how they lean into and cherish their history and their heroes. And whether it's World War II heroes or, going even back further to the Roman Empire and William Wallace, who we went to his momentum in Scotland. And, there were some guys in history that did some really bad things, some ugly things, but they don't ignore that part of it. They celebrate the parts that they did well, that the things that they did that, to liberate the country, not the things that they didn't do. And they don't try to get rid of it. And they cherish their history. And I thought it was very patriotic. And by the way, they love Canadians. I did not meet one person there that didn't love Canadians. And believe me, I was leading with that. Hi, we're Canadian. Not,
Good for you, Suits. Good for you. I love it.
It's like I love it. It's like all the commercials that are running right now.
Yeah.
It's like and now everyone's worried about Canadian jobs and everything. It's like, where you guys been the last 10 years? Elbows up.
Yeah.
Surprise. Yeah. We've been in this situation. Anyway, let's get on to CFL football here.
Yeah.
You're back on this this side of the ocean now. It sounds like they've hired a commissioner. They haven't come out and said it. I thought maybe right at the combine, right after the combine, they would have. Have you heard anybody?
Is it you?
Is it you?
No, it's not me. And it's really flattering that you guys bring up my name and things. And I have other fans that go on Twitter and things and also say that. And I appreciate that. But, there's more qualified people to do this. And I think these owners, first of all, I have a lot of respect for them. So I'm really interested to hear who it will be. I don't know at this point, but who it will be and really what is their angle of expertise. Because, this Ed Hervey thing, guys, that has just happened. I've said many times that one of the things I hope the new commissioner is on top of is messaging. And I know people kind of blow that off as sort of, yeah, well, that's common sense, and we should say good things about the league. But it should be more detailed than that, and the little things matter. Uh, the Ed Hervey comment is a great example of my point of not understanding messaging. First of all, it wasn't smart to say. Secondly, it was factually incorrect and the wrong thing to do and say, because it's actually wrong. And then his explanation of it became even worse when he said, well, I just talked about I was saying popular icons like Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan, because they're so popular, that's what makes them a superstar. Well, Donald Trump's, everyone knows who he is, and I don't think he would be a superstar in many people's eyes. So, like I don't think being popular or having everyone know who you are is necessarily the superstar category. Superstar, our league in the CFL has world-class athletes, football players at a level that you will see, the highest level that you will see anywhere in the world, and that includes the NFL. And I've said it many, many times. I played with NFL Pro Bowlers. I played against NFL Pro Bowlers in Canada. I covered a guy that rushed for 1,800 yards in the NFL, then came up here, rushed for 650 in 16 games, and then went back and led the league in rushing. Ricky Williams. So, I just, and again, I don't like to get into these debates with people about who's the better league and who, it's silly. It's a hamster wheel. But my point is that Ed Hervey's, that's a big mistake. I don't want to cancel Ed Hervey, whatever. He misspoke. It wasn't factually right. But the point is that whoever the new commissioner's got to be has got to understand that we need to start messaging and understand that what we say matters. Fans are looking at guys like us or leadership in what these athletes are. What are you watching when you buy a ticket to a CFL game? What are you seeing? Well, you're seeing a world-class athlete, and we need to start saying it over and over and over again, and pointing out reasons why and explaining why. Not because fans don't understand, but because they're looking to us. If we keep saying, well, they're good, but they're not as good as this, or, well, they're okay, but they're no. First of all, it's not true. Secondly, it's poor messaging. And messaging is the first step to gaining popularity.
It's amazing that I think of Chad Okocinco, or whatever name we want to use for him, has a better message about players in the Canadian Football League than one of our general managers. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm gonna chalk this up to Ed Hervey. I'm gonna give him a bit of an alibi in that he, his explanation of it was awful. But I think he was sort of, I know Ed a little bit, and I think he was sort of looking at it as like, to be a great football team, you need everybody pulling the rope in the same direction. It's not about superstars. I want to kind of give him that out a little bit. Okay. And I don't think we should cancel a guy because he misspoke. That's too far.
No.
Too far. So, and I don't think we demand apologies or anything like that. That's just, he said it, so what, move on. But in the bigger picture, the league needs to get a good handle on this from everyone that's involved in our league to actually say what is real, and don't shy away from it. For some reason, we have to qualify. It's such a Canadian way. We have to qualify what we're going to do when we're complimenting. It's a world-class athlete. Now, what I mean by that, and I want to qualify what I said, no, just world-class athlete, full stop. That's it. Because they are. They absolutely are. They train the same. They run the same speed. They're just as strong. They went to the same schools. These guys are world class. Full stop. And if we start messaging collectively that way, 10 years from now, they're going to be kids that go, this is world class. Not only because they can see it for their own eyes, but also because they've heard it for 10 straight years.
who are the immediate superstars CFL? Not right now. Just you could go the last 20 years, Glenn. Whatever that come to mind.
Well, I could give you 10 on every team. I mean, I could give you, your top receivers. A lot of those Canadians the last few years. The Justin McKinnis, those guys are world class. The Gino Lewis, who this whole controversy with Ed Hervey was all sort of centered around. He's a world class receiver. You can't tell me that he couldn't play on half the teams in the NFL and be a star. But pick any one of the starting quarterbacks, any one of the good quarterbacks. Zach Collaros, if he had got the right opportunity, would have been a great CFL quarterback or NFL quarterback, and is a world class player. The Ricky Ray, Warren Moon, all these guys. So, I don't know. I've had this fight and been on this hamster wheel for 35 straight years. And the frustrating part for me is not talking to the fans about it, because I don't blame the fans for thinking this or not, or not talking about the professional athlete in that light. I don't blame them for it, because in our own head offices, on our own teams, and sometimes our own athletes, they're not getting it. They're not messaging. It's never been explained to them. One of the things, we all have different opinions about Donald Trump, but one of the things that he has done to get the popularity level up to where it is for him, which is 150 million people or more in the United States that voted for him, is that he kept his message very simple, and it was to the point, and it was this: if you vote for me, I will make your life great. And he said it over and over and over again. That was sort of a master class and I'm not even sure he understood he was doing it, but it's a master class in simple messaging. World class, superstar athletes. There's a bunch on every team. 3 or 4 or 5 guys on every team. Just like in the NFL, there's 3 or 4 guys that are separate from the world-class players that are playing at that level. There's 2 or 3.
I want to end with this in your comments on the blown out of proportion story of the week. It's how slow things are in March here. Premier of Manitoba.
Yeah.
About taking a flight.
Joining the charter flight
to the Grey Cup. Like, talk about who cares.
Well, first of all, the CBC News article on that was way too long. I mean, like, honestly, like, I think it was about 8 pages long about this guy taking a charter flight. And if you had to read it all, which takes an hour and a half, it felt like he had broken some huge law that, anyway. That was the first thing. The second thing is, once you read through it all and figured it out, he actually paid for everything out of his pocket. There's probably some sort of violation here, but who cares? I mean, this sort of getting into the playground and even politicians doing it, acting like adolescent kids. Again, back to this Europe thought: less governing, let's be adults, let's be grown-ups, let's message correctly, let's try and inspire rather than rip people apart. And if a guy jumps on a charter flight with the team and is the premier of the province supporting the team, and he paid for it out of his pocket, it's not a 7-page story of criticism. Sorry.
Yeah.
I go back to your comment about the trail in Scotland. Maybe if we had less guardrails up, we'd have less people complaining about things.
I like it. Okay. Here
it is. William Wallace's sword. That's the original sword.
I love it.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
Whatever. You're watching the stream. All right, Glenn. We will regroup with you on Thursday.
Welcome home.
Thanks as always. Yeah, welcome home. Glad you made it home safe, and talk to you in a couple days.
Sounds good. And I'll be in Regina really soon for the dog's breakfast in about a month up in Saskatoon.
Yeah, end of the month. Right on. Let's have some bagged eggs and some hash browns together. I like it.
Sounds good, buddy. And I got something for you from St. Andrews.
Hopefully it's a beer. Attendance. See you, Glenn. That is